Welcome to my channel, Military Comebacks. Today, I'm taking you on a journey not only through turbulence in the sky, but through turbulence of the heart. This is a story that proves courage has no gender, no rank, and no limits. So settle in, because this isn't just about piloting an aircraft. It's about pushing through fear, doubt, destiny itself. Many believed she was just a female pilot, a token presence, a trainee chosen for appearances. But on the day the Boeing 737 violently shook midair, when alarms wailed and passengers braced for the worst, she shattered every assumption. She took command. No one on board would ever forget her name. The morning began quietly at Jinnah International Airport. The aircraft gleamed under the early sun, ready to carry more than 100 passengers to their destination. Among the crew was First Officer Aisha Raman, composed and frequently underestimated. She had heard the whispers too many times. Hired for image, not ability. Too soft for pressure. Better suited for the cabin than the cockpit. Each comment stung, but she answered them the only way she knew how, through discipline and excellence. She entered the cockpit, greeted Captain Khalid, and began her pre-flight checks. Every switch, every gauge, every lever was handled with practiced precision. Years of simulator sessions and emergency drills guided her hands. Passengers boarded without a second thought about who was flying. All they cared about was arriving safely. None of them knew how quickly that simple wish would be tested. At 9:05 a.m., 737 lifted smoothly into the sky. The city shrank beneath them as clouds stretched endlessly ahead. The first hour passed peacefully. Laughter drifted through the cabin. Drinks were served. Calm filled the air. Then the sky changed as they cruised over the rugged terrain of Balochistan. Turbulence began to rattle the aircraft. First it was minor, then it intensified. The seatbelt sign blinked on. Sudden violent jolt shook the fuselage. Moments later, a piercing alarm shattered the cockpit's calm. Engine failure. The aircraft lurched sharply. Oxygen masks deployed in the cabin. Panic erupted. Captain Khalid attempted corrections, but the plane resisted. The right wing dipped dangerously. His breathing grew uneven. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The weight of responsibility froze him. Aisha felt her pulse hammering, but her training took over. She recognized the scenario instantly. Disengage autopilot, she instructed firmly. No response. She didn't hesitate. She reached forward, switched off the autopilot, and took control. Her voice was no longer soft, it carried authority. Cabin crew, secure the passengers. I have control. Below them, jagged mountains waited. The aircraft trembled violently, but her hands remained steady. She adjusted the throttle, balanced the rudder, and manually corrected the trim. Every movement was deliberate. Inside the cabin, passengers clung to hope, without knowing who was guiding them. Yet they felt the difference. The erratic swings softened into controlled motion. When Captain Khalid finally spoke, his voice was shaken. "What are you doing?" Without turning, she replied evenly, "Flying this plane. Help me with the systems or step aside." Roles reversed in that moment. Experience gave way to composure. Doubt gave way to leadership. The engine would not restart. Full power was gone. They would have to glide and navigate the crippled jet to the nearest possible runway. Aisha scanned charts and recalled regional airstrips from memory. Quetta was too far. Other options were unreachable. Then she found a small military runway in Dalbandin. She contacted air traffic control calmly, declaring an emergency and requesting immediate clearance. On the ground, preparations began. The runway wasn't meant for heavy passenger jets, but it was their only chance. As they descended, another violent burst of turbulence struck. Luggage flew. Screams echoed. Through the intercom, her voice cut through the fear. "We are experiencing technical difficulties, but I am in control. Please remain seated. We will get through this together." Her tone steadied the cabin. Confidence replaced chaos. The runway appeared ahead, a narrow strip carved into desert earth. Crosswinds battered the aircraft. One engine was silent. Others strained. Every calculation mattered. Too high, they would overshoot. Too low, they would crash. The wheels slammed onto the runway. The aircraft bounced hard. She fought the controls, deployed spoilers, and engaged reverse thrust. Tires screeched. Smoke rose. Slowly, mercifully, the jet came to a complete stop. Silence, then applause. Tears, prayers, whispered in gratitude. Captain Khalid stared at her, stunned. In that cockpit sat not the underestimated co-pilot he once doubted, but the leader who had saved them all. Passengers stepped onto solid ground, overwhelmed with relief. When they looked toward the cockpit, they didn't see a female pilot. They saw the person who brought them home. Aisha removed her headset, exhausted but composed. She hadn't only saved an aircraft, she had risen above every prejudice. Every quiet dismissal. That day, she didn't just land a plane. She claimed her place. News outlets around the world carried headlines of heroism. Yet for her, it was never about recognition. It was about the children who stopped crying, the families reunited, the lives restored. She proved something greater than skill. She proved that courage has no gender. So the next time someone wonders what a pilot looks like, remember the day the Boeing 737 shook mid-end? She took control? Thank you for watching. If this story moved you and reminded you of the quiet heroes among us, like, comment, and subscribe here at Military Comebacks. We don't just tell stories, we honor them.